Tuperas y tuperas, today on DOOP by the River. Welcome to the venting episode of DOOP by the River. We're going to talk full in depth of what happened on Tuesday night in the Leagues Cup semifinal match against Inter Miami, or better known as Messi's Miami. We're going to look at another transfer news here for the Union as well. And don't you dare go anywhere because you do not want to miss this episode of DOOP by the River. And let's get it started, guys.
DOOP by the River
doesn't do anything well. There is not one.
I'm sorry. There was no creativity.
As a Union fan, I take that all day.
Another DP. We need to go get Mario Balotelli. And that is right. Welcome, everyone, to DOOP by the River, the show where we follow everything Philadelphia Union. And, of course, we are brought to you by Philly Sports Network. Before we dive into today's episode of DOOP by the River, I want to welcome everyone in, whether you're watching live on YouTube, live on Twitter, or you're listening to this wherever you stream podcasts. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to us. If you're watching live on YouTube, make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe for all your future viewings of DOOP by the River. Of course, follow us here on Twitter and make sure you guys are subscribed as well, wherever you stream podcasts under DOOP by the River Podcasts. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my expert in duping for today, Justin, three-time Ball Dealer winner, Friedberg. Justin, my man. It's good seeing you, brother. What's up, man? How you feeling?
A little tired. It's been a long week at work. It's been kicking into audit season, so always love getting stuff together for that, as accounting is so much fun. But no, just been trying to enjoy the little bit of quiet post Messi mania.
Yeah, dude. Has your body? I feel like my body still hasn't recovered fully from that night. Still pretty tired. Got like maybe 4 or 5 hours of sleep that night alone, and so yeah. So my body's still bouncing back from mentally. I'm here. Body's still like trying to recover.
Yeah, I've gotten on average about 4, maybe 5 hours of sleep this entire week. So like I am. I'm crashing pretty hard, so it's been rough this week, but I'm a soldier. I keep marching on.
Yeah, dude, that's what we do here, man. That's what we do here. We'll definitely talk about all the shenanigans on Tuesday night, but I figured we start off here, Justin, with talking about a little transfer news, as we always do. In the midst of like Messi mania, like this literally was announced on the day of the match. Richard Odada gets loaned out to a Danish team, uppercase A, lowercase a, B. I'm sorry if I really don't know this team. But he's going to this Danish team. It's a loan. There is an option to buy for Richard Odada. So, I mean, listen, if he performs anywhere near what we saw with against Pachuca last year, they could trigger that option to buy. Obviously, we don't know the situation with this club over in Denmark, but it's funny, Justin, because like some fans, obviously we're getting a lot of new fans, Justin, and some of the pushback that I've heard from some of the newer fans is like, well, like why can't we ever keep players like Brendan Aronson and Mark McKenzie? And the thing is, like this is like most soccer teams plan. Like most soccer teams are bringing in these kids and selling them off. But this Odada one is just a little bit of a surprise. What do you think, man?
It is interesting. So I actually did find that it's not AEB, it's Aalborg BK.
That's why we love you, Justin.
That is I had to look on thank you Transfermarkt. They are in the second tier in the Danish league. Listen. Odada was a guy who, I mean, realistically, he was probably number 3 or 4 in that position. And I think the reason that loan probably became more likely was the emergence of Jesus Bueno. Jesus Bueno, in the last couple months has shot up in terms of way more playing time. He has looked by far one of the Union's best midfield players, popping up literally all over the field. And I think Odada, listen, obviously it's a loan. You don't know, like, if he performs well there, you sell him. If he performs well, but you think you can integrate him, then you bring, like, really realistically, it's a situation that could benefit both sides, depending on how the Union's, I think the Union's midfield will shape up in this offseason, because I do think there's a chance there could be decent shakeup.
That is true. And yeah, I think Jesus Bueno really had a lot to do with this. I think Leon Flock may be staying here for the long haul as well. I mean, the future for Brujo remains to be seen here, but now, I mean, Jesus really has made it. Dude, think about it, man. Jesus really eliminated 2 midfielders, bro. But and now Richard Odada. This man's on a freaking tear, bro. And
Yeah, it like, and that's the funny thing. I think the Perea move initially coming in was a move that was seen as, well, wait a minute, what is Jesus Bueno? Because Jesus Bueno was starting to get more time at the end of last year. And Perea, there were moments where it felt like it worked, but then there were moments where you knew, like, it kind of clashed with the way Ali and Brujo play, where Jesus Bueno is a lot more complimentary, that he will come back if needed. He will hold his runs if he needs to. So I think you saw that, and then Odada's a project. He's young. I think that's something that you got to look at and go,
raw potential, man.
Yeah. And so, like, if it works out, great. If not, you didn't spend too much on him.
Yeah.
Bueno was a guy that, I mean, listen, another young Venezuelan, like, you knew what you did when you signed him. You're like, okay, if it worked with El Brujo, let's see if it works with Bueno. And I think you're starting to realize, oh shit, like, we're starting to kind of feel like something might be coming up. So yeah, I think realistically this was a move that just kind of fell into the Union's lap by sheer happenstance for a number of different factors. Nothing that Odada did, I think.
Yeah, man.
I hope he gets a decent amount of time. I hope he plays well, because, like, at the end of the day, do I want all these young players to end up playing for the Union? Yes, but realistically, that's not a likelihood. And you're gonna have players that are like, I think you're gonna have players that are going to play well in other places that they wouldn't get time here, and then they get sold.
Mm-hmm.
That's the nature of the business, and I genuinely hope Odada does well. And I mean, that you always kind of want a kid's career to take off, and if even the Union not even had a fraction something to do with that, then that's I always think that's a good thing.
And worst comes to worst, Justin, I mean, Ernst has been hitting on CDMs. We won't mention sexy season, but he does pretty much hit on.
But think
CDMs.
about it though. Midfield has been a position really where the Union have excelled.
Yeah.
In terms of finding players.
Really,
and I think that's
success.
And even to a point, striker. I mean, look at the strikers that he has brought in.
Yeah, good point.
You have Carranza. You remember, you got Carranza for $500,000 when Miami paid $6 million for him, and you might be selling Carranza for a fuck ton more. Ua was what, $3 million, and I think so far he's done well enough to where that's been worth it. You got Daniel Gazdag for probably less than he was, and he could get sold. Kai Wagner was,
even Casper was a good dude, because you got him for free.
He was free.
You got a lot of production out of that,
and you sold him for $1 million. Like, I think you look at these players that the Union have brought in. I mean, you brought in Jakob Glesnes. You've molded Jack Elliott, I think, into better than he was pre-Ernst. You're starting to see the ethos that the team is trying to implement over the years, and they're finally at a point where they're being consistent, and it's obviously there's a time to take another step up, but they're being a consistent contender while not having to go crazy with the spending. Yeah, would it be nice to get a superstar? Yeah, listen, that's I think every team wants at least one in their history, but
absolutely, man.
The Union are doing well getting guys that you've never heard of.
Seriously. Justin, you got to meet Jose from over across the pitch, man. That's awesome, dude.
I did. I was like, with the craziness and Messi mania, the traffic was basically like it would be for a Saturday night game. So I was hanging out, and Jose came up. He was chilling with our boy Mike. We were all talking, and Jose can confirm I might be a goalie, but I still got those that solid touches or a soccer ball being kicked around, and I was showing off my CDM passing range. Back in the day, I was kind of a regista type sweeper, so I still got that range, that passing range. But no, it was nice. Like I said, it's always nice meeting people through and Jose's actually also in the Sons of and the Union Discord, so it's kind of nice meeting people in person for the first time. Hey, listen, dude, those are some damn good passes. All right, I'm gonna toot my own horn because there were some solid touches.
Dude, I kind of miss the Regis. I mean, we don't really have too many Registas in the world, right?
I think that kind of position kind of not died with Pirlo, but like you don't have too many guys that are a deep lying that don't really play defense and pass it. Dude, it also depends on the midfield situation. I mean, that's a full honest. Like it really does depend on the situation.
That is true, man. Let's see the evolution of the sport, man. We'll see if it ever comes back here. But all right, Justin. I know a lot of people why they're here. They want to talk about Tuesday, and we're going to talk about Tuesday. So. Obviously, a 4-1 loss here during Messi mania, and in a match where we thought the Union would play much better than what we saw. What we saw was just flat out uncharacteristic. To begin the match, it started off with one uncharacteristic mistake by Damian Lowe, misread the ball, and Josef Martinez. By the way, for all those who did forget, Josef Martinez did win MLS MVP in this league. I'm just going to put that out there. And he put the ball past Andre, and again another uncharacteristic mistake because Andre most of the time stops this ball. So okay, 1-0. All right, 3 minutes, not what we expected, but hey, we can bounce back. We move 17 minutes later, and then Lionel Messi literally has his longest low range shot in his career in the 20th minute, and again. Another uncharacteristic mistake by Andre Blake. Right before half, third minute of injury time, Jordi Alba gets one. This was a bad mistake by Nathan Harrows. He loses the ball. In the second half, the Union turned it up a little bit. Alejandro Bedoya getting subbed in definitely sparked something for the Union. And he gets a goal in the 73rd minute. Now the mood has changed. Things seem more optimistic now that it's 3-1. But unfortunately, Miami puts the dagger with Daniel Reese goal in the 84th minute. And that would do it for the Philadelphia Union. A 4-1 loss here for the Union in Leagues Cup. They bow out. They still have a chance to win third place, which is cool. Champions League on the line here as well. Cool. Justin, so we've seen a lot of takes here in Philadelphia, right? A lot of people are calm. A lot of people are, questioning the ability of this club to getting it done in big games. A lot of people want Curtin out, Blake out, Ernst out. Like, people have mixed emotions after Tuesday. So for you, my man, where's your mindset with this club after what we saw on Tuesday?
I think there's a lot of overreactions at the moment.
We can all agree they didn't play well.
Realistically, that was one of the probably, I think, the worst performance I've seen by the Union. And so I'm going to start flat out and say it. Jim botched the lineup selection. Chris Donovan as soon as I saw Chris Donovan up top, I was like, I looked at it and went, what the hell is going on? Like, looking at it was essentially that kind of back five, back three. Looking at the midfield, and like,
what was that midfield though?
Like Leon, Jesus, and it's like that really didn't work against DC, but you're doing it anyway. Like, I instantly, I kind of had a twinge of, oh no, Jim is overthinking it again. And on the first goal, yes, Andre could have done a little better, but I think a lot of that goal has to lie on Damian Lowe. Damian Lowe arguably was the worst performer in the League's Cup, which is amazing, which is a weird comparison because he's been one of the best defenders in MLS regular season. Like, that's what I said. Like, League's Cup, he's been terrible, but league play, he's been good. And that, like, on that first goal, I don't know what he's doing. Like, get in front of the ball. What is he's trying to, like, poke at it, and it goes right by him, and then he's not in a position. And by the time he recovers, Andre's in a position where, okay, he's assuming that Lowe's going to get back. Lowe can't get back. And then Andre is just a little, for someone who's usually good at positioning, that was not great. The second goal, yes, is a 30-yard bomb from Lionel Messi on the ground. Not great. Yes. Was Andre a little off? Yes. But do people who are blaming Andre fully on that, did y'all see the moment where Messi had 15 to 20 yards to step? You give the best player in the world 15 to 20 yards to run into. I'm sorry, before no one steps up, I'm sorry, what do you think is going to happen? He was going to unfurl a shot that was going to be a problem. And yeah, Andre did not have a great game, and that was not great positioning. But again, you gave the best fucking player in the world 20 yards to run into. I think, again, that was a horrible misplay on the defense. The defense, for usually being the Union's best attribute, arguably had some of the biggest mistakes. Nate Harriel, again, one of the most consistent defenders, comes with a brain fart and loses the ball, and the ball gets turned the other way. It was not a great game for the Union defense. I think you saw with Jim's subs early in the half, he realized he fucked up. But by that point, you're already down 3-0. You get that goal back. You were pressing. You probably could have gotten a few more. But by that time, it was too late. And then Miami puts the dagger in. And for the people who are like, oh, the Union botched the big games. Listen, I didn't have high hopes that they were going to win. I thought it would be like a 2-1. The Union might lose on like Cruz Azul and like an amazing free kick, and it's going to be a tight battle, and it was not. But also, I think people are overlooking the fact that, okay, yeah, Monterrey are not going to be playing with their starters, but you win the game, you get Champions League. Like I don't. Yeah, I think that's what's being overlooked. And yes, that was arguably probably in the last few years that is the Union's worst game they have played.
Yeah,
but I think that's like realistically, again, Miami. Listen, Miami was always setting up for this tournament to be like their all or an Open Cup. Because looking at their regular season, yes, Lionel Messi's been playing well, but a tournament play and regular season play are very much two different things.
Yeah.
And Miami has a massive gap. Even with 9 teams making it, they still have 16 points to make up. And oh, by the way, that's assuming that any of those teams in those positions are going to start just dropping points left and right. I think that's what people are realizing, that yes, Messi is playing insanely well, and Messi didn't have to do much that game.
Miami in general didn't have to do much. It didn't look like they put it in. They didn't give it their all. Like, they obviously capitalized on some mistakes, but it didn't feel like they dominated us for 90 minutes. Like, in the second half, dude, we had chance after chance. We had 8 or 9 corner kicks, my dude. That was 4 in the same sequence.
The first half was definitely Miami. The second half was definitely the Union.
Yeah, man.
I think the thing that people are still not realizing, and I don't know why he's getting overlooked, Robin Taylor had another excellent game. Like the dude he is one of the people absolutely benefiting from
Yes.
Lionel Messi.
Yes.
And I think you can see like Lionel Messi trusts Taylor to make those cuts in because he is creating so many chances and giving the ball back and working with Messi. And Messi likes a player. That's why those front three of Taylor, Messi, and Martinez all working together so well.
Dude, but what about Josef though? Like he's kind of got that look again that he used to have, man.
I think leaving Atlanta was probably should have happened earlier. If I'm being honest, I think the malaise was kind of setting in. You can see yes, he's playing with Lionel Messi. Like who wouldn't be? And Busquets and Alba. But at the same time, you're seeing Josef Martinez look happy. You're seeing him with that hunger that made him the MLS MVP. And
he's got Tata back as well on the sideline.
I was saying one of the most insanely dynamic scorers in this league's history.
Yeah.
So I think it says something where you can look at him and go, "Oh, that's the Josef Martinez we all remember."
That is true, man. I don't want to put in too much stock on a Leagues Cup semifinal loss here, but a couple things that I did notice, and it kind of just like realization in watching the match here at Super Park, like it did feel like the Union players may have respected Messi a little bit too much, maybe gotten a little bit too starstruck. I was reading Kevin Kincaid's article, which it was pretty good. It was a really good read if you guys haven't checked it out on Crossing Broad. And as I finished that, I go on Instagram, and it's so funny. I don't know if Instagram was reading my mind, but like the minute I go on Instagram, I see Gazak's post, Bueno's post, El Brujo's post, and it's all about Messi. And you know what? That's fine. Get that out of the way, because God forbid we see him in the playoffs and you start doing that, we're in bigger trouble, right? So get that out the way. That is fine. But like Justin, one thing I feel like we're headed into MLS 4.0, or we're in MLS 4.0, right? I don't think the Union can ever spend like Miami or like LAFC, right? But it is clear that more money does need to be spent. We've done a fantastic job of building this team with what we've had to spend. But at the end of the day, like, how are you going to get those difference-making players? You got to dish more money out there, Jay. And that's kind of where the realization came for me. Again, like, I don't put too much stock in losing yesterday, but I see what's happening in our league. And that's just where I'm at right now.
I agree to a point. I think the problem that I see is
people go saying that we should go after like Griezmann or someone like that.
I mean, listen, if KD works his magic, Antoine Griezmann will absolutely dominate in this league. I do not question it for a second that man will run rampant. Very much a Josef Martinez kind of a down and dirty striker in this league. The problem I always run into is looking at how you've seen teams spend money.
For sure.
You have the Atlantas, you have the LAFCs. You also have the Cincinnatis up until last year, where they spent money recklessly and it bit them in the ass a lot. And I think you don't want to start having to play catch up and also getting away from what makes your team, your identity, what you are. I think if the Union start going out and splashing all kinds of ridiculous cash, where are the academy players going to come in? Where are these diamonds in the rough coming in? Like, the Union have gotten to where they are by keeping who they are. Yes, they have spent more money. They've started to spend north of $3 million on players, which is something I never thought I'd see way back in 2010. But at the same time, I think the league rules I know the league rules are changing where they're going to be adding a fourth DP. The max salary cap hit is going to go up, which is going to help things. But they are still keeping a lot of the other roster rules. I think that will help keep parity. And the more I just hope that as the Union increase their spending, they're still keeping players who fit the Union mindset, the mantra, who are working hard, who are good teammates in the locker room, who are going to contribute on the field, but also, be solid people off the field. And I think you can still spend more money and not lose sight of what made the team what it is and how they got here. And I think I don't want the team to lose sight of that. And that's always what I'm afraid of is when the clamoring for more money happens, be careful what you wish for if it doesn't go exact the way that you would like. And that's always been a concern to me.
Extremely valid points. I mean, dude, Chicago, I think, is right now the prime example of that, bro. I mean, come on.
Yeah, look at all they've done, and they've gotten and that's another example. That's a team that has a ridiculous amount of money. Look at Seattle right now. They've been up and down the last few years with the money they spent. Even LAFC right now are bad. Like, they do not look good right now. And I know it's like, well, they're still up. It's like, well, yeah, but look at their run of form the last 2 months since CCL ended. They have not played well.
Yeah.
And it's always, even Atlanta has realistically not looked all that good in the last few months either. So it's just and yes, each team has good players that are balling out. Mm-hmm. But you also got to be careful with the other player. I mean, look at how many players that Atlanta's just like mutually terminated a few contracts recently. It's like, aren't some of those guys that they actually spent some money on? Like, and some of these moves that fell under the radar where like I'll be scrolling MLSsoccer.com because I love to be kept up on the transfer, rumors and signings. And I saw one recently, and I'm like, I thought that guy was supposed to be like a big thing, and it's like, oh, he just left with like literally no fanfare.
Yeah, no, like literally. But you know what makes me feel confident though, if we do happen to spend money, is that Ernst is pretty smart with his signings. He has like a keen eye for talent, and so like the way I look at it is like, what if he did have more money to spend? Like, what kind of players could he realistically be bringing in? And realistically, I wanted to ask you, what did Firmino get signed with for in the, what did he go to Saudi Arabia, right?
Yeah.
Do you know how much he got on that deal? We'll get Justin. There we go.
I think it's one of those. I don't know. Each player seems to be different with the money that they're getting.
They're dishing money. That's for sure.
I have to double check.
So like right now, first off, before we get any big time players coming here, like MLS does have to fix their roster restrictions that they have, because we can't compete with Saudi Arabia when they're just throwing ridiculous amount of money. But like, I would love, like we talked about it before, like a veteran type of player. It could be MLS, could be Euro, who's got the experience, knows how to score some goals. Those type of players do make significantly more. So
I think that's why a Griezmann, I think, would be the type of signing. Like, that's a notable signing that is not going to cost you as much as a Messi, but can still get you that impact. If we're looking at that type of a player that isn't going to break the bank, but could ball out, I don't know if he would come up here, but off the top of my head, I'm looking at Dortmund. I'm looking at Sebastian Haller. He's a guy who revitalized his career with Ajax. He, despite from cancer, he made a comeback last year. He was scoring like crazy. I think if you're looking at players in that vein, I know he's really young, and there's no way he would go from the Premier League to here. But a player that I've seen that would, like Evan Ferguson, the striker from Brighton, the kid is absolutely balling out. He's starting to score like crazy, and that's a kid who has so much upside. Like, there are all those type of players who are starting to grow, starting to be, in there, and I think that would like it would definitely be solid. One that I was hoping would come to MLS, but it looks like he's gone back to Brazil. Is a Diego Costa. That's a guy who would be the perfect villain in this
Yeah,
league.
dude.
And I know after his spell with Wolves, I know he literally just recently signed with another club back in Brazil. But I think there's and another one, and I know he's being controversial at times, but Gignac. I mean, listen, he's been Tigres like literally the best foreign striker, goal scorer in Liga MX history, and I think if he ever came to the MLS, he would absolutely dominate. There's literally no question on that.
But Justin, even like like those bigger European clubs. I remember like Chelsea all those years when they were spending a ridiculous amount of money. Like they still had like so many good young players who couldn't get minutes. Like I would even love like those.
Romelu Lukaku. That's a speaking of Chelsea. Lukaku. I mean, I know he's going to try to stay in Europe, but that's a dude who would absolutely ball out. And
I don't think Mike the Stallion is like, babe, let's go back to the States. Come on.
I'm thinking about Danny Welbeck. I know he's still playing well for Brighton, but Danny Welbeck would be a name. It was like,
dude, I forgot about Danny Welbeck. Holy crap!
I am surprised he stayed in Europe, but Mauro Icardi is one of those guys.
That's right.
On that list, Dries Mertens, man, is another one balling out in Turkey. There are a lot of like guys who aren't really past it, who are flying their trade in Turkey right now, and it's like. Yeah, I know the Saudi league is where a lot of players are going to be going, but
all right, let me ask you this question. So obviously one of the bigger problems with trying to get players like that here, not only is the fact that we don't spend a lot of money, but also like how do you sell Philadelphia to like a Eurostar who may
Rocky cheesesteaks, water ice.
But how's that? That's not going to get them here. Like LA, NY, Miami, you go beach. You go nightlife, you go celebrity. Like how do we?
Well, come on, you can't sell the Pyramid Club to Daniel Sturridge. Come on, man.
No, realistically,
everyone can see the Pyramid Club from the skyline.
In all seriousness, I think the way you sell it is you got to get a player who's all about family, right? Because I do think that this area is fantastic for raising families. Like that's why LeBron legitimately considered playing for the Sixers. Like he was looking at Lower Merion for his kids and all that. Like if you could get a family guy who wants to raise his kids in the States, have them go to American college, whatever it may be. Dude, this is a fantastic place to raise a family. I mean,
I think that's why
turned out pretty well.
That's why you've seen a lot of players stay here after they've even left and come back.
Exactly.
You see, like Daniel Gazak seems to be like Jack Elliott. Married a girl from Philly. Ali has settled in pretty well.
I hope he
in the city. I think. Off the top of my head, I can't think of a person specifically that is that very, very family oriented. I mean, Lionel Messi absolutely is one of those that comes to mind. I mean, he's thought of his family in a lot of these moves. I think that's the thing that you could absolutely sell a person on is the tight confines of Super Park, feeling like home. The wonderful. I mean, listen. All jokes aside, the tri-state area there are some very nice places to live in. It is some very beautiful scenery, a lot of things to do. I think we're always selling ourselves short on this area. And yes, is it tough to the glitz and glam of NYC, Miami, and LA? Yes, that's just the kind of the nature of it. But I think there are players of that kind of caliber that don't just look at the money when it comes to a move. They look at a lot more, and I hope that's the kind of player. Like all being said, yeah, it's tough to overshadow those markets, but you want the type of player that's going to fit the Philly ethos, and I think there are a number of players that could easily fit that mold. And so I think you can afford to be patient. I don't think you want to throw a fuck ton of money at a player that doesn't want to be here and throws off the vibes of the locker room and just clearly doesn't contribute. And I think, again, that's the concern you run into. So I think it's something where you'll find that player. There will be that guy that the fans go, "Oh my God, I can't believe he signed here." Like,
I hope so,
and
man.
so I think that's something that you're good. I know it sounds corny to say, and then people are like, "Oh," I think it's something that you got to be patient for. You got to just know that the right superstar will come around. I think every team will get a superstar. I don't think it's not just like, oh, the big markets. It's you're gonna see those start to come through. So
Let me ask you something, Justin. I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to think back to when we signed Marco Fabian. What did you feel? What was your initial reaction when you saw that on your phone? Because that to me was like the biggest signing that we've had. Maybe Mondragon. But like
I think it was one of those where, as a soccer fan, I think Mondragon obviously was the first one where it was like,
right.
Holy shit! Like, this guy is a legend, and he didn't phone it in. Like, he made it clear that he wanted to be here, and he did well in his year. I think realistically, I think the first players that really got the mindset of, oh, Philadelphia is actually a solid market was, signing Maurice Edu and Ali Bedoya and year, like, for those of us who are, U.S. national team fans. I mean, both of those guys have been staples. I mean, for Maurice Edu was a big part of the 2010 World Cup team. Ali Bedoya had kind of been on the, like, he had been a mainstay in the national team for a while. I think those were like the holy shit moves. Marco Fabian, yes, he was, but then you also had Harris Medunjanin, who was an absolute legend. Akira Bernetta was still playing for Switzerland regularly at the time. Like, I think there have been superstars, not of that insanely high nature, but superstars that, like, to the average soccer fan, you can go like, oh wow, like, that actually is a pretty decent sized name. So Marco Fabian definitely was, outside of Mondragon, was one of the first big ones that really tapped into the Latinx community. But I think you had a number of people before that, especially I would say Barnetta and Medunjanin to a point.
Okay.
They're kind of established on a more global level.
Okay. We'll talk about some of the stuff you saw at Subaru Park, the extracurricular, not on the pitch, but off the pitch in the stands. Dude, the crowd was certainly interesting. Because, like, for me personally, Justin, like, first off, anything I say, guys, like, you guys can do whatever you want with your lives. Please don't listen to me, okay? I just have my opinions. I personally, Justin, I don't fanboy over a player. Like, I'm not a fan of a single player. I'm a fan of a team, and that's why I love sports.
Yeah.
To me, it's an interesting culture. These people don't just only care about Messi. They travel with Messi. They're a Barcelona fan now. They're a PSG fan then, and then now they're Miami fans. So, like, to me, it was interesting. Like, hearing the Messi chants, Messi, Messi.
But then when he wasn't on the ball, that was it. Like,
literally, dude, bro, did you see the Sean Brace picture today?
No.
We had motherfuckers on the bridge trying to watch the match.
I saw that and went, what the fuck? Like, yo, what is
that? Stood on the bridge, dude.
And they were like straddled. Like, God forbid they fucking slipped.
Oh, God, dude.
Like, Jesus Christ, dude.
I've only seen that in Latin America. I'm not even lying to you, dude. Like, dude, not even in fit, like, not even for like the NFC Championship game do people do that shit. Like,
yeah,
95. Like,
I think I saw that later on, and I was like, what the actual fuck?
it was a crazy one. What about in the Rivers? I did see one guy. He was trying to start some stuff at the end of the game in the Rivers End with his Argentina jersey with Messi on it. But
Yeah,
anything in the River End?
there were some idiots. Being honest, I was, but like you saw a lot of the Messi people, even at like 3-1, were leaving, and we're all like chanting like $300, $500. Like the amount of people wanting out were like, I mean, listen. If I'm being honest, I've seen Messi next year. If he comes to town, I might sell my ticket because I'll be flat honest. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it was still just a colossal headache. Just dealing with all that nonsense and like I said, I can claim that I have seen Zlatan play. I've seen David Beckham play. I've seen Kaká play. I've seen Wayne Rooney. I've seen I've seen Pirlo, Gerrard. I've seen legends of the game play. I can now say I've seen arguably one of the best players of all time play. I don't need to do it again. like if I go to the game, great. If not, I make some money on my ticket and potentially pay for my season ticket next year. Like,
wow. That is wild.
It just blows my mind that people would be spending essentially like for what they're spending. You could fucking buy a PS5.
Did you see the standing rooms? Dude, they were like 4 rows deep.
Dude, it was. I looked all around and it was insane. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, that? Yeah, that was just absolutely bonkers. I couldn't believe it.
And the thing is that like I do want to commend the fan base, like our fan base. Like we did show out. Like yes, there was a shit ton of Messi. It's like that's expected, but
100%.
There was more of us. Like it wasn't like Cool America. There was more of us than them. Maybe like 60-40, maybe 55-45. But like at the end of the day, there were more Union fans than there were Messi fans, and that was the most important part. But I'm just never gonna understand it. Like the LeBron fans, like I'm sorry, I just can never understand that culture. I respect Messi, but I can't ever say like, dude, Messi, wherever he goes, that's my team.
I don't understand that. Like, maybe it's just more of a modern phenomena. Being a fan of just one person, like to me, that's about as plastic and fake as you get. Like
that's why I love you, Justin.
It was like literally. Look, if it wasn't a blank kit, it was always a Messi kit, and I joked and I'm like, no one's showing up in a Robin Taylor kit or even a Busquets or a Drake Callender or. Joseph Martinez, like no one else is showing up in any of those kits because they're not really Miami fans. They're Messi fans. They've been Miami fans for all of a month.
That's so.
And
weird.
I said the issue wasn't going to be the Miami fans. It was going to be the air quote Miami fans. Like it was like even when Miami scored the other goals, it wasn't as loud as when Messi scored.
Yeah.
Like it blew my mind. I'm like. So you're not really a fan, like I don't know. It's so fake and so like that's the only part I had an annoyance with.
Dude, I saw a lady in a Messi Miami shirt with a Phillies hat. I was so disrespected. She really came in with that. She really wore the Phillies hat with the Miami shirt.
It genuinely blew my mind. I could not believe it.
Absolutely wild, man. You think we'll ever see anything like this again at Super Park?
Because
the next time Messi comes, it's not gonna be this crazy, is it?
No, I think you're not gonna see anything like this until like if Mbappe ever comes over, or like Haaland. Like I think Messi is one of a once in a generation type of a player. So I think that's a tough ask to say.
I'm glad he's enjoying the MLS, man. It is helping us. Those fans, I just don't understand.
I can't wait till he gets again. I'm saying this. He's gonna get like his first bad challenge is gonna be a 2-footed from a center back making the league minimum 85,000, trying to make a name for himself.
Yeah, man. We're all be rooting for National on Saturday. That's for sure.
Yeah, honestly, it would be funny. It would be funny as shit. I'm not gonna lie. I don't really care either way. It would just be funny.
It is funny though that like I'm sure you've seen the Leagues Cup final ticket to Nashville, and it's like funny like how the amount of Union fans that were freaking out at the club. It really wasn't the Union. It's literally the Leagues Cup.
Well, I was gonna say, and Leagues Cup takes 50% of the revenue. So like, you wonder why the tickets were so high. It's like, yeah, cool. The Union have to make their money literally somehow.
Literally, man. Literally. All right, well, let's talk about our match because we still have a match Saturday for third place. What do we expect against Monterrey here, man? Which, by the way, it sucks that we're not going to be in Monterrey because, dude, I would love to see my Union in that beautiful stadium, man. But hey, well,
I
mean, I won't be there. I did already kind of have plans that I was like, cool. If they'd won, I would have changed them. But this one, I'm like, listen, Monterrey's not going to be playing their starters. I think the Union, they're going to want to make a statement. It's not going to be.
You think we play our starters though?
I think you're going to have at least have half the starters. I think you want to show that you still have Champions League on the line, and Monterrey has already qualified for Champions League, which is why they're not playing their starters. So like, I think you're going to kind of want to make a point to get to Champions League.
This is true, man. This is absolutely true. So. Look, and as we end this all off, man, like I get it. It's frustrating here, but guys, like right now, I don't know about you guys, but for me, my main goal this year was getting back to the MLS Cup and winning. I didn't care for winning Leagues Cup. Cool if we won. I didn't really care. I know this is always controversial. I didn't really care about winning U.S. Open Cup. Cool if we would have won. We didn't care about winning Supporters Shield. Cool if we would have won. But where this team has gone over the past couple of years, dude, like that's the one thing this is really eluding this team. So like my eyes are still on the same place at the beginning of the season, and it's hasn't dwindled. Now, yes, like the whole big game thing, yeah, it's going to linger with this team, unfortunately. So it's time to prove them wrong, and they got a couple months here to get things right, and then it's dude, all hands on deck come playoff time, bro. No playing games, man.
Yeah, I think you have plenty of time now to focus on the stretch run, and now it's not the Dallas game got moved to September, so your run in starts with a trip down to the nation's capital, of which I will be down for that game.
Hey, Justin taking over the nation's capital. I like it, man.
My first trip to Audi Field, meet up with some friends. I'm excited.
Yo, dude, try to stop by RFK if you can, man.
Dude,
I get so like wowed by like abandoned shit like that, man. Like I want to go down to RFK so bad because I love abandoned stuff. It's so weird.
It certainly is an interesting place.
It's crazy how it's still like standing, man. It's like decaying.
I was gonna say I think they're more afraid of what will come out of the rubble if they knock it down. You don't know what creatures outside of time and space lie in the framework of RFK.
The ghost of remember what's his name? That striker that won like Golden Boot like randomly for DC 1 year. Emilio, was that his name? Remember that guy?
No, it's on my head.
Dude, he's gonna pop out. Dude, it's hilarious, man. It's hilarious, man. Well, that's gonna do it for another episode of DOOP by the River. Thank you so much for tuning on in, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe for more live viewings of DOOP by the River. Follow us here on Twitter, and of course, check us out wherever you stream podcasts under DOOP by the River Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Justin, 3-time bald Dior winner, Friedberg. I go by the name of El Parcero Philly, and we're telling you guys to DOOP on.